Hello everyone. This is another book video, and if the camera wiggles, it's because it's on my iPad and it's on a little table that is wiggling every time I move. But this is a September reading wrap up and an October TBR video, all in one, because I don't really read much and I'm terrible at explaining books, so I just want to tell people that I'm reading. Anyway, I'm looking at my new reading app called Fable. I 10 out of 10 recommend, just for this feature alone. It tells you the books you finished in what month and does a little chart for you. So I'm looking at that. And the first book I finished in September was Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. And I know the last video that I had, I was saying like I'm going to softy enough this and finish this later. I was wrong. I couldn't move on to another book without having this book finished because it was driving me nuts. So I got to about, I want to say 75-80% through the book and I could not do it anymore. I couldn't watch them just like their just relationship is so annoying to me, and I know so many people love this, so it's probably a hot take. But I am not a fan, and I won't be continuing the rest of the series, at least for now, anyway. Like, maybe, who knows, in a couple years. It's probably going to be a couple years. Like, I don't think I will finish this series, because it's just not for me. Their relationship was just not for me. I couldn't do it. The next book I read, my friend Marchie took it with her to Regina. I'm lending out my books now. But it's Daydream by Hannah Grace. I'll put her over here. It was possibly my favorite read of the year so far. Besides Throne of Glass, like Throne of Glass is pretty high up there, but like for just a romance book, Daydream. It honestly, it might be my favorite book. I wish I had the physical copy right now to just like hold it and love it. I loved it so much. I gave it a 5-star, and then I think going off of how many books I've read from Hannah Grace, and I gave them all a 5-star, she might be one of my favorite authors because all of her books are a 5-star for me in that series. I don't know if she's written anything else, to be honest. I've never really looked into it. But that was a huge success. Read that book. And then the next book I read was... So I kind of read two at the same time here. I was physically reading this. Loved it. I didn't give it a 5-star though. It was like a 4.25. Like, it was really good. There was a tiny lull near the end that I was like, all right, let's go. But I really loved it. I loved this world so much. So when I looked when the next book was coming out, it's literally not coming out for another year. I was like, that's so depressing because now I'm not going to remember all the intricate details of this world when the second one comes out. While I was reading this, I was doing lots of driving. So I was audiobook listening to Beach Read by Emily Henry. And it was good. I liked it, but not one of my favorites by her. I've read 3: Happy Place, Funny Story, and then Beach Read. Funny Story is my favorite by her so far. I liked it, but I wasn't like into the relationship as much as I thought, and that's kind of like the whole book. So it wasn't my favorite relationship. Then I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I loved it. It was so cute. It gave all of the fall vibes that I was looking for into the from summer to fall transition kind of vibe. I loved this book. It was so cute. But the characters did lack some depth because right at the beginning, like how the relationship was building, I was like, what? Anyway, looking past that, it's super cute. I've never finished a book this fast. I think I read it in 2 days. I'm a slow reader. So it was super cute. I do recommend this. I think I gave it a 4 stars. And then, that's it. That's all I read. I read 5 books with an audiobook in there. Moving on to the next part. So the next part of this video is my October TBR. I had a little bit of a dilemma thinking about what I wanted to read this month because all of the books that I own in my physical TBR weren't calling my name. A fantasy has really been calling my name lately. I don't have a fantasy. I don't have a fantasy I haven't read. These are the books that I own. I'm gonna take that out of there. And I didn't really. I have these. This is my physical TBR that I have not read. Not a single one of them is a fantasy. So that was my dilemma. So what I've come to the conclusion is, I started this one. I'm on page 15. I'll probably finish it this month. It's really short. So that's on the October TBR. And because it's spooky season, everybody, I stole this from my sister. And A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is on the TBR. Who knows if we'll get to it? But it's on there. And then this one I know I'm not going to read until probably October. Because I wasn't feeling it and I don't think I'm going to feel it for spooky season. And then this one is probably not going to be on the October TBR. It is a romance, and I know I'm going to need some romance because October is midterm month, and I have 8 midterms this month, so I don't anticipate a lot of reading being done. And this one gives me spring vibes, so that one was eliminated. And then I have The Nightingale, and people sob. They sob at this book, and I'm already going to be crying from my midterms, so I don't know why I would want to do it more with the book. So I thought reading a sad book in a month that's gonna suck, probably not a good idea. We'll save it for November. So that was out of there. But that only left me with these 2 books, and neither of them was calling my name because they weren't a fantasy, and I really want a fantasy. But I'm a uni student on a budget, and I can't just go out and buy a fantasy and then it not hitting. And I went onto Audible to do a little scrolling because I was like, oh, well, maybe I will listen to a little bit of an audiobook, and if I'm enjoying it, I'll go buy it. And my mom, I saw and have been told, and we've been talking about it, has just started the ACOTAR series. So I go on Audible, and I see that she has A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury downloaded on Audible. And I was like, I've really been wanting to reread this series and the Harry Potter series. I don't have the Harry Potter series with me. It's at my house in Weyburn. So I was like, well, this is probably a good time to reread ACOTAR. I haven't read it since 2022. And it's the fantasy that's been calling my name, and it's a comfort book because it's my favorite fantasy series of all time. And it's like rewatching Harry Potter over and over. It's like comforting. It's what you want when you're in like a stressful time like midterms. So I've decided it's time to start the reread of ACOTAR. That's exactly what I did. This is the first book of October. I started listening to the audiobook because my mom finished this one, so I could listen to it because I'm logged into her Audible. So that's on. That was on. I finished it this morning, actually. And because I'm a slow reader and I know I'm probably only going to get done 2 books or possibly 3 if I audiobook listen, but most likely 2. In October, this one. But my mom is audiobook listening to this, so I can't listen to it at the same time she is. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just read it because I have the books. So this is the next book that I know for sure I will be reading. I probably won't get to the rest of this series this month, just because of my little sketch. But this is the October TBR. We'll see if we get to these 2, but this one will be read. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.